Okay, hi class. I think a couple of students thought, besides Bob, is there anyone else we've seen? Maybe thought that it was spring break. I don't know. Pedro.
He usually comes later.
Yeah, unfortunately, he doesn't have much register here regarding in-class assignments. Okay, last week's in-class assignments, you know there were two kinds of questions. One was about whether you read the text, the chapter or not. Check that one. A simple question just to check whether you read it without being sleepy. Just wake reading, that's all it requires. And most of you missed that question, only a few students got that one. Let's see how many students got that. 1, 2, 3, and 4 students, which is unbelievable. And therefore, I will be reinforcing this, and I will be asking questions about the reading material more frequently. It is not my choice, my favorite stuff. I don't like that kind of question. It's really memorization stuff. Not memorization, I will not ask you a question that really you need specifically to memorize, but if you read it, you would know it. It will not kind of escape your attention.
But what if you read it, but you're still not fully understanding the question?
But if I see that sign, that's okay. I will give credit for that one. But the open-ended question, I am looking for what? I'm looking for beyond skin. If you ask in just a person out of philosophy class who they are, they will tell, my name is this, I'm a very nice person, but some people think I'm a jerk. But I am kind of, appear to be confident, but inside I'm shy, and these kind of things about yourself a normal person talk. That's good. It is a way of awareness about yourself. As a child, they may have a little bit delusional awareness about themselves. They may say a child of 4 years old, I'm a Ninja Turtle, and brag about that, and really think that they are. When I was about 6, 7 years old, my father went to Istanbul. I was in a little town. I didn't have a little even bicycle, even tricycle. But somehow I had seen a guy with motorcycle, beautiful motorcycle with red color, and it just, my imagination, I need to have motorcycle. And then a guy would come from Istanbul. My father would send some gifts that time to us, and those gifts would be plastic gifts usually. And in town we would have our own toys. I would make my own toys from watermelon skin, cut it and make it like wheel and put together with stick and pull it like car, and this kind of ways. And then first time, I still remember a little cat that when you want it and it would go and then flip over and those kind of things. It was fascinating. Therefore, next time when the guy came from Istanbul bringing some toys for us, one of the toys that a book that I never forget was fancy, beautiful, colorful picture. It was an encyclopedia. And anyway, I asked a motorcycle. For goodness sake, I cannot even ride a tricycle. But in my mind, I would be able. Therefore, in childhood, you have that kind of perception of yourself which is not real. And some people continue in their lives. The narcissists, for example.
Adults have those kinds of perception when they are on MDA.
I love that. Yeah, some people, we still have those kind of things with us, not the same level, the same degree, but we continue to have kind of dream about ourselves. We are the best people, the center of the universe, correct? Somehow. It is good, healthy dose is good. But I wanted you to ask about yourself, who you are. For example, one person talk about the siblings, beautiful, and describing siblings. One intelligent, the other is cocky, brave, and someone talk about being rambunctious, and but some interesting thing about that matter does not drive my person. obsessing, okay, with logic and then it shapes it constantly, my personality. Aware that personality is evolving, changing is good, but not really enough. I expect from philosophy students to head deeper. When you say I, who is this I that gaining those things, having those things? Try to say, you say I, you are I out there and doing all things you are not talking about that. Who is that I? Discover, talk about that I. When did that I start? Who that I that chooses A instead of B or Z instead of X? What that I is. Try to kind of go through the thinking process, and when you start chasing that I, you will find that's not that easy to find yourself. You describe what you got. I am what? I am a person who has phone in my pocket. I have phone. Who are you? I have phone. I have key. I have black shirt, which only says ALL, Accelerated Learning Lab, my son's school. I was coach for Science Olympiad. I didn't put it, but it is among one of my shirts, among some I associate with my son, correct? And I am proud of my son getting first place in events in Science Olympiad. But who am I who enjoys this rather than a cranky old man says, what's the importance of Science Olympiad is a game. Go to pizza, serve people, or something like that, or not being proud of my son. But there's certain things about me that makes me choose those things. When it started, is it tabula rasa? When I am born, is it tabula rasa? Somehow things come into this blank plate and fill it, like Paul Sartre claimed that existence precedes essence, correct? Today's assignment.
No.
Huh?
No, it's not correct.
Well, we discussed that. And therefore here, one person I want just to share. And first of all, I am proud of this person. I don't want to say the name of it, but I hope that my expectation is everyone will be comfortable in their skin and not be kind of bothered by reading. But I don't know. Is everyone comfortable? Or could I give name when I criticize? You know, I'm a heavy critic. Okay. His name is Joe. Joe, hi. And here it is. And he's confident and he has certain convictions, whether we agree or not. Says, my identity is in Christ. I have been saved by grace because of what Jesus did at the cross. Everything that was accomplished at the cross and his resurrection has been freely given to anyone who would repent and enter into a relationship with Jesus. That is the background of my identity. I am a disciple of Jesus. I believe every word of Scripture was inspired by God, though through the pen of prophets, saints, disciples, apostles, etc. I want to be known for what Christ, is it Christ or Christ?
Christ.
Okay, still I have problem with that 22 years in the United States. Christ has done for me and leave a legacy of love and integrity. That is my identity in a nutshell. He identified himself with his belief convictions and with a person who thinks is ideal when you are kind of subscribing to his message. But the question for this gentleman is, I put here for you, the question is, before you discovered Christ, was there a you? If not, how zero made the choice as a Christ, as a Savior? And if yes, there was you, then who is that you who made that choice? That's really I'm interested in. I don't think when you're a baby you say, I love Jesus and I want Jesus. Even you said it would be like a monkey repeating or a parrot repeating the thing. Yeah. But at one point, there was you made choice. But why you made that choice, not other choice? Who is that? You that really on the track to become a Jesus worshiper, correct? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the question you should be, because any person who say this is superficial, but who is really your identity, your person? And also here, of course, in the philosophy class, in the beginning, I said we don't have sacred cows, whether Muslim or Christian or atheist in this class, we're subject to questions. The moment you feel too uncomfortable, that's fine, you can tell, I don't want to talk, you have all the right not to talk, but here in this class we encourage talking. The question, the purpose is not to insult anyone's belief. In fact, to the contrary, I respect people's belief. I open my door to Jehovah's Witnesses, to Mormons, and I love them. I respect them because these people bother, come there, and they're not really selling me anything. Those people were maybe the top people, make some money out of that, maybe. And Jehovah's Witnesses, I think they are much less kind of business. But if you believe something, that's the heaven, that's the hell, eternal. And of course, you would like to go knock on the door and share this with people. It is something I love it, and I invite them. I serve them if there is food, serve them food, and listen to them. Try as much as kind as possible. But it doesn't mean I should agree with that. When it doesn't remain there, correct? This doesn't remain with you. You want to also tell the world. Then you tell someone else, and someone else will say, well, you believe every word of Scripture. You believe. I don't believe. Do you have anything to convince me why it is Word of God, something published by a company? And King James Version, there is a king who I don't like much, the kings, but there's a king's seal on it. Why should I believe that? And it's an extraordinary claim, requires some maybe extraordinary evidence.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Beautiful.
When I wrote that, I knew that I was, kind of.
No, in fact, in this paper, I really did not expect you to justify your identity or what you think your character. Of course, the purpose of the paper was not this, therefore I didn't take any point from that.
Yeah.
The purpose of this paper was to question who you are. But in that one, I expected to go deeper. Who is that person who first chose that one? Because there was one point that person did not have Christian life, Christ. And let's see who is. Do you have something?
Oh, no.
Okay.
I could pretty well answer this.
Okay, I will give you this paper later. And before letting Romerita take the charge here, presentation about freedom, I want to have a little stuff. We can get ready, prepared. How many of you think that you have freedom of choice? You are free. You can just look at it. Let's see how many people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You're hesitant.
I'm on the fence on.
You're a kind of contemplativist, the contemplativist or the confusion.
I believe we have freedom of choice on some things and not others.
Okay, what about you?
I don't think so.
Huh?
I don't think so.
You don't think that you have freedom of choice. You think that you are a robot.
No,
Oh no, you should not laugh.
no, I don't think. I mean,
A kind of robot, not kind of aluminum and plastic and silicone, but robot in terms of flesh and bone. Yes. Because it's not started. Oh, it is started. Okay. Let me do the presentation first. Okay. And anyone else? We have only 2 people. And what about you? Do you think you are a determinist? You have freedom?
I'm not. I'm not hard determinist.
Okay, you are not hard and soft determinist. Okay, each of you next to each other, you think you alike. And what about you? Are you hard determinist? You think you don't have any freedom, or?
No, I think we have some freedom. We have different levels of freedom. That's what is freedom. not everybody has the same amount of freedom.
Why is that the case though? Why do we have different amounts of freedom of choice?
Well, because sometimes you might have some psychological constraints, physical constraints. Somebody might be threatening you, your freedom, so you're acting coerced by fear. You
But
might
wouldn't that still be your choice
you might
because
be
you're in fear?
brainwashed. You might be hypnotized. You see what I'm saying? You might not be aware of your genes, of your impulses, because you can do what you do. You might be a drug addict. You cannot resist your impulses to take drugs. You might be a gambler. Even though you know that you don't want to gamble, still you cannot resist your impulses.
But in the end, it's still a choice that you make to do those things regardless of
Yeah, but
You
your
feeling like you-
choice is being constrained. You are not doing your actual desire. I bet that somebody that is a drug addict is doing drugs. I believe that that person is more likely than not that not want to do those drugs.
Absolutely, many
But
of them
she-
say that they'd like to
She might
quit.
have two different kind of desires: the desire to take drugs and the desire not to. But the desire to take their drugs overpowers the person's desire to not to.
But at one
Yeah, but
point, that person made a choice.
exactly. You
To say,
you
I'm
can
not
use that
trying
example all
to-
you want, but I've been there, been an addict, and in the end, it's still a conscious choice that you make, regardless of you saying, you know, oh,
That's
you
why I
use
talk about
overpowering.
police.
You know that it's wrong. You know that you're not supposed to, but in the end, you choose to do it because it's a want. It's a choice. No matter how you look at it, it's a choice.
You're free to make that.
Exactly.
And
Sometimes
you
you
made it.
have
Good, bad, or indifferent.
you have two forces that one overpowers the other, and you cannot control it.
Well, no, you can control it. It's, you know, you're not supposed to. You know it's wrong, but you choose. You don't care. You choose to
No, you
do it
care.
anyway.
I'm talking about the drug addict.
Yeah, I know. Like I
Just
said,
refer
I've been
to
there. In the end, I still chose to do it. I knew it was wrong. I knew I could have lost my kids, but I still chose to do it because I wanted to. It's a choice. It's,
Yeah, it
What
is
about,
a
like,
choice,
Okay,
but it's
I-
not a choice according your true desires, your true will of doing good to yourself, to protect to self-preservation. We all humans have a sense of self-preservation. And when we are taking drugs, we know we are destroying ourselves.
exactly.
And that's against human nature. So you have these forces pulling one against each other, and the one that is more powerful wins. But
It's still a choice.
you can have two parallel desires. One that overpowers your original desire, that is preserve your integrity. But there is always one desire that you can tell, this is not mine. But it constrains your freedom. People have different kinds of levels of freedom. Some people are more free than others.
Okay, here is the problem. The problem is when you talk about you, but still we don't know who is that person. Let's start from baby. The 1 day old baby or 1 hour old baby just recently came out of this different universe. It's small. But love that universe because this nourishment comes and protected. And that baby doesn't know really outside, therefore doesn't have any craving about bigger space, light. And when come out, naturally cry, scared. We are in this world, when we need time to get out, we want to stick with this ugly, suffocating world, but we don't know that it is like that. Anyway, I'm not saying really philosophically, but metaphorically. Now, baby, 1 hour old baby, do you think that baby has freedom of choice? Do you think have freedom of choice?
No.
No.
Okay, that baby do not have, it seems to look like even less freedom than a 1-year-old dog, correct?
Yeah.
It naturally cries when hungry and bothered or something. Seems doesn't have really freedom of choice. You tell that baby about Jesus, do you think he will say Jesus is my savior stuff? Will not understand. Okay, 1 hour old baby do not have freedom. And what about 1 day old?
What?
1 day old?
No.
No. 2 day old? What about 1 month old? Hold on. At one point, a person will suddenly start getting freedom. I am free. Do you think is there any point in our life we think that we discovered a kind of a secret that is called freedom of choice? No. Therefore, it is really a continuum. Like John of Cusa, I think, said, there is no really opposites of each other. There is no curved and straight line as opposite. In fact, curve, if you make it infinite circle, it becomes straight line. Or black and white, just increase the number of pixels, it becomes black, white. Or hot and cold, it is a method of degradation. Infinitesimal small degrees increase the temperature, it becomes hot. Cold, there's not one point you say hot. There's one point maybe we say cold and hot, but it will be relative to us. If it is a little bit more temperature than our skin, we call it hot. Less, we call it cold, correct? Our temperature will become. But there is no really an absolute or objective way to say this is cold, this is hot. This is a very interesting way of looking at things. Many things really, it's related to each other. It's continuum, not categorical difference. But I would say there is categorical difference between 0 and 1. 0 and 0.0001. It seems kind of there is categorical difference between nothingness and something. How small it is doesn't matter, regardless how small it is. There is some categorical things, it seems there is. But now, as far as freedom, even life, it seems on continuum. We are not able really to catch life. What is life? What's living things? If you start describing life, and if I ask some question, you will end up getting confused. You will end up including some of the things that initially you thought that not living, according to that description. What is life? Someone come up with definition of life.
Breath.
Mallory, huh?
Breath.
What's breath?
Breathing.
Breathing, well, my son's balloon breathes, or breathes out. I can make an accordion, breathe in and out. That's life, living. You know, music, breathing in and out. Breathing, what else? Or breathing on its own. We can make a machine that breathes in.
Breathing on its own internal organs.
The trains that goes with the, steam engines, they breathe on their own.
Your mind,
Huh?
your brain. Without your brain, you can't. You're stuck in a vegetable.
All right. What about the 5 senses?
5 senses. What is if you lost one of the 5 senses, you have 4 senses. Your ear is gone, God forbid, and you don't hear.
You train yourself to do something else.
I know, that means 5 senses could be 4 senses, correct?
Yes.
Okay, what about another sense is gone?
So you're deaf and blind.
Yeah, deaf and blind, or deaf and no tactile information.
What,
Okay.
you got burned or something?
That make living things, do you think is just really senses?
I have a
It's hard
biology
and
textbook.
routine.
in-
Huh?
You said it's simple.
I was gonna say, I have a biology textbook in my truck, can I go get it?
No, the
Just
issue
talked about this
is,
last week.
the issue is we may be able to distinguish the end of a living being like a cat and comparing it to a rock. We say this is living, this is not living. But when rock becomes crystal, when we have another kind of rock, its crystal is growing on its own. And then when there's another one, it looks like a kind of become a plant. There is kind of degradation. Through evolution, you can look at it, even put all these specimens from rock to human top. And then in between, you can play crystals and little, virus and germs, one cell, and then become a very complex organism. But it is not clear. We have some ideas about it. For example, moving, producing, correct? It moves and produces. Well, someone says 5. What about 5? It moves and even produces something. It can jump around, correct? Very many other things.
Agree.
We may have some bias regarding definition of life. We have bias towards flesh and thing. For example, a computer if you put some mechanism under a computer that let this computer move around and also talk and have all these 5 senses, in fact better than humans, can have better hearing and recording and calculation faster than humans, and this computer also can even play soccer. It's not something imaginary, very impossible, even possible within our lifespan, these things. And the technology evolving and be stronger than humans. Then we call it living being. We say must produce. Well, production, there are some humans are impotent. Still they are living being, correct? Or mule. Mule doesn't give birth or produce is another mule. And we call them living, therefore it's not necessary condition of being definition of what is living being. Anyway, what I'm going here, come back to child. At one point that child becomes free. It seems there is no such an aha moment. Or mitzvah, what do you call it? What mitzvah?
Bar mitzvah.
Bar mitzvah. Bar mitzvah. What is arbitrarily chosen? There's one point maybe a male voice changes. Some religions relate freedom to that time. For example, Sunni or Shiites, they say if a boy or girl comes to the age of puberty, then becomes a responsible agent. They're in trouble. There will be society will blame them for certain things if they didn't do or they did. Okay. And here in the United States, 18 years, sometimes 21, correct, is an age, but arbitrarily chosen, goodness sake. Before that, still, they should be free and they should be also liable for their choices. But somehow we arbitrarily pick one point. It may not be as arbitrary, but still there is arbitrariness, correct? Why not 17 and a half here? Why is 18? Yes?
Well, the brain is getting like more developed at that age than it would be by if you're a teenager. So you made different choices.
I know, but we are
According to
imputing...
that, it'd actually be 25 then, that's when your brain's then developing, so
Okay.
we're missing the...
Okay, you are looking at physiological development brain. I do agree, it could be a criteria. But again, it has nothing to do with freedom. It says, well, at this time we can expect some more responsibility because of the brain. But why expect responsibility? How can I morally blame a robot? If that's really a robot, but very smart robot, why should I, maybe the robot that have fastest speed and bigger hard disk, if a robot do something wrong, let's say the program but did something wrong, do I say, or your computer did some mistake, bad computer, beat the computer, put in jail, angry with the computer. Yeah, we get angry, but it seems stupid. We don't really blame inanimate things. We don't even morally blame dogs and cats, but in medieval time, they would torture those animals too. Do you know that? Sometimes they would try animals. they thought that animals would have that in medieval times. Yeah. Anyone remember this? Very interesting. They would. But now we came to the understanding. Yes?
That's totally conflicting though, because they didn't believe that animals had souls or anything
Yeah.
like that, so how could they try them? That's
They-
so unfair.
those people-
I hate Inquisitions.
Those
It's so
people
awful.
believe that also killing another human is bad, peace is the best thing. While they were singing peace, they were having crusades, killing children and
Tying
people,
and quartering people.
and having torture at the same time. Therefore, you don't expect a kind of screwed up mind to have consistent belief and practice. But here it is. I'm claiming that all of you are robots. This is and including me. And I think that freedom is an illusion, is our own kind of thinking that we are free. Somehow it's created, I don't know how. I think I am free, but when I look at back, any choice right now I make, it depends on my genetics, on my past experience based on genetics and external forces around me, which I didn't choose and control. I didn't choose to become a human being, first of all. I could be a lizard, correct? Or a snake, or a rock, or a flower somewhere, correct? Or not to exist at all. My existence, first of all, is not in my choice. I came into existence, I didn't choose to be human, I became human. I didn't choose even the time I am born, correct? The place I was born. I could be born in another planet, in part of the universe, if there are other planets. I born in planet Earth in Milky Way galaxy. I could come thousands of years ago as a child of a caveman, cave parents. I didn't. But I came in a time, in a country which I didn't choose. My parents I didn't choose. My shape I didn't choose. My brain even I didn't choose. The things that I tend to take pride in. I am this. Well,
But you still act like you have freedom.
huh?
You still act like you have freedom.
It seems like.
But you behave like you think so.
Okay. Yeah.
You are not being consistent because your actions do not reflect your beliefs.
What do you mean? Do
You are
think?
acting like free. You ask
No,
questions.
I'm not asking. I'm not acting like. I am acting like a robot. Serious. You are
Yeah, but you
opposing
follow-
my
you follow
position.
the-
I am defending myself. I am programmed to do that.
You follow the rules of the society. You follow the rules of your religion.
Yeah,
You
this
follow
my
that- you follow
this my
that-
genes have determined, and my upbringing, all those things created this kind of attitude and behavior. Right now, I have this accumulation. One of you chose to sit down there, the other here, another one here, there. There is a reason even for that. The color you choose, why you choose that particular color, there is some past. You go back, it goes to your birth. Starting point. Let's say two twins born at the same time. Twins usually born at the same time. At the same time. I wanted to emphasize they are born kind of very after each other, almost at the same hour. And then they're in the same room. They're, let's say, assume identical twins. Genetically, they're identical. Hardware all the same. But software will change the moment they are born. Means the data they will start perceiving, it will change. Let's say one looks at grandpa's face, the other is looking at grandma's face in hospital. When they are kind of, one is on this side, the other on the other side. Grandpa is a cranky old man, scary face. Grandma is a smiling, sweet face. These twins, one of them had already started bad experience. The other one, good experience. And that very experience will create a kind of inclination or a character, how we'll react to the next one. The next phase, this baby on the right will look at grandpa's cranky, angry face. That kid, the next phase will be more kind of anxious, apprehension, because the previous experience was not that good. The other one will be maybe more. If this is reinforced with another phase, grandpa's son, who is what kind of a very kind of psychopath, and he comes there too, and then that kid, perhaps doomed for life to be scared and shy, introverted thing. May not be all because genetics determines certain things, but also the software, your perception, and how you also acquire those perceptions with emotions. The emotions make certain perception much more dominant in your life. If you have certain experience, it is highly emotional, it creates much more effect on your future decisions regarding
Many times
those.
I can observe my own emotions of anger and fear and do not act upon them. I'm being conscious of I'm having them.
Okay, why? Why?
Why am I conscious?
Yeah, why you are not reacting to that? Why?
Because I'm conscious I'm having those feelings and I want to control them.
Why do you want to control?
Because I know that if I act upon them, that will have bad
How
consequences.
did you come to know?
That
Well, you are going back, past, correct?
how can I know
In the
that
past, you have certain experience that when you didn't control, it hurt you, correct?
I can go back in time and find out why I'm having those feelings.
Yeah.
If I have that, I might be traumatized.
Where did they come from?
Back in time from my history, some event in the past.
Do you think at one point that you started having choices?
At some point,
Uh-huh.
I believe that I've been having choices for a long time. I don't know what moment of my life.
Okay, give me a word. I want to have a little test. Give me a word.
A word?
A word. Free, as a free person, give me a word.
What is a free person?
Yeah, give me a word. Just say a word.
A decision maker.
One word. One, give me a word.
Decision.
Decision. And I predicted that you're not really free because I knew that I wrote down a few minutes ago. This is a word in dictionary. Correct? And you're not that free you thought, and even I knew that you will give me a word in English dictionary.
I will give you a word.
A word in English dictionary. You are stuck in English dictionary. You thought that you are free in a little dictionary. Give me a word. Be a free person if you want.
Well, say that again about the dictionary. I don't know.
Well, she gave me a word decision. The word decision is in
Yeah.
dictionary. I knew that if I asked you a word, you will give me a word in English dictionary.
Yeah, because I'm in
I said
we all speak English here, so I speak English.
That means you are reacting deterministically to the environment. You see, you
Because
didn't
I know
show
if
much
I said in
freedom.
another language, nobody would understand.
And
So I did that. I had that. I
well,
choose.
you are pretty predictable. I thought you would be random. Random. If
I
there
was
is freedom, random. If I am able to predict your reactions, you are not free. I
You
know.
did not predict the word I said,
What is it? Oh,
said
well, at
decision.
least I knew about it is English dictionary.
but you didn't predict.
Okay, say a word. Get out of the box if you want.
Monkey, whatever.
Still in the box. Monkey is in the dictionary.
Oh, you want the word that is not in
I
the
didn't say
dictionary.
anything. I just wanted to prove that you are free.
Oh, with only one word?
I don't know even two words.
Like,
Jump from window if you want. But you are reacting to me.
We can't.
Anyone who wants to take a challenge is free. Who thinks that's free?
Well, it doesn't
Okay,
mean
yes.
that.
okay,
A word. Give me a word.
Can you prove?
Give me a word.
Pomidor.
Omidor is Spanish dictionary, correct?
No,
What is it?
it's Russian.
Russian. Yeah, well, you got stuck in a Russian dictionary. Well, if I knew that you're Russian, I would expect that it would be in Russian. Next alternative. Yes, sir.
So if someone was to create a random word that's not in any dictionary, would they be free?
Well, it would be reacting to my right now challenge. If I wrote that one, the next one would be exactly you say. I say this word has no meaning and it's nonsense. I would say. Therefore, I would expect next level. Next level. In fact, I don't have time to write it down. I have 3 stages. One is when I say this in English dictionary, then you jump into the next language that you know to prove that you are free. The next language is, if I know your background, I will predict that one too. And then ultimately to prove that you are free, you will say a nonsense word, a random word, a sound. And I would predict that one. It is human psychology. That the next, thinking like me. You are not thinking unlike me. If you think unlike I do, you will be very random. When I ask you a question, instead of giving me a word, you will spit to the air, or you would start jumping around, or you would throw me the book. That time you would prove me that you are free. Oh, that time, the more free, the more unpredictable you become a random person. I don't see any random person here. You are all shaped by the environment. You are all reacting to the environment as you were supposed to.
People on drugs will be very random. Like
They're random. They are the free.
And
They
like
become free.
thinking
That drugs you become more free. But if you are a sober mind, smart philosophy student, and you tell me you are free, you have no clue what you are talking about. You are not free. You are very predictable. We are in the same maze, labyrinth, intellectual maze. The smarter you become, the less free you become. Because you are in reason land. In reason land, there is no really much freedom. In mathematics, how much freedom you have? Do you think mathematicians are very creative? They can make up new prime numbers? No, they discover. They are bound by the rules of mathematics.
Well, I'm an artist. I do random
Yes.
paintings.
I forgot, never mind.
That's good. Yes, some freedom. Forgot.
We're
Yes.
still bonded by the rules of physics. It doesn't mean that we're not free in this world. I mean, just
Beautiful.
because we confine ourselves to one dictionary doesn't mean that we don't have freedom of choice.
Well, my thing was not. First of all, we are confounded by, we are restricted, constrained by the rules of physics, not rules, the laws, natural laws, correct? We cannot get out of it. Second, our physiology, our psychology, which is really a, production of brain. The brain is a matter which comes genetically, basically. You are not really making your own brain. It makes you whatever it came from. And
What's the
that
point
brain
of
will
it?
secrete certain hormones will make psychology. Therefore, it's not also in your hand. But you may get a drug like Adderall, and then control the frontal lobe become less compulsive. But your choice going there is also predetermined. There is Adderall, it was forced to be discovered, predetermined to be discovered, and your problem, and someone who knows, he was determined to know that, and you end up learning that all things are predetermined.
I
I think there are more things that are unpredictable than predictable in the universe.
Like going on
There is more the things that are
Okay, yeah, there you go.
than the ones that you can predict.
Okay, give me a number. Oh, not yet.
Oh, not again.
Okay, who likes numbers?
You are still predictable. I
I
said you
I
can ask me
am. I
numbers.
really claim that I am free. At least I know I'm a robot. I am just programmed. I'm talking according to my program. And who thinks he's free? Okay, you think okay. 16 times 2.
16 times 2? 136.
Oh, you don't know that?
No, I don't. 112.
32.
No. 32 times, 16 times, 32 times 2.
It's 32.
16 times.
Okay, 16 times 2. 16 times 2. What is it? Okay, someone who knows a little bit math.
32.
Right.
Okay, 16 times 2.
I'm going on break.
Really?
Did I
What?
win?
Hmm?
Did I win?
Wait, you want to go break?
I thought I won though, because you asked me.
unpredictable.
Oh, you are unpredictable! You're like a free person.
You are just reacting to it, so you're not.
Well, I thought you are not very predictable because you got that information from me.
Yeah, you were
And you are
reacting to the
again
fact that
reacting to what I said. And it was within my prediction that some students, lovely, thank you very much. But it was not really out of the box.
What if a airplane falls now? Could you predict that? That was totally uncertain. We just get smashed here.
Look, if I knew, listen carefully. It is a matter of, because I don't know, listen carefully. Because I don't know, it doesn't mean it's not determined. That aeroplane will fall, in fact, it was determined hours, even days before, when there was a little tiredness in one of the engines or one of the screws
the pilot
come
has
up,
fallen
and
asleep.
someone did not pay attention to that one. Or the guy, when he started, the pilot, when he started drinking, it started that time. And then when I got drunk, it
But
malfunctioned.
then it
fell.
would be the pilot's free will
It was not free because
to
pilot
drink.
drank because he started drinking when he was a child, when he was influenced by his stupid friends. Why he was influenced by his stupid friends? Because when he was baby, when he was
But he
child,
still had
his
choice
confidence
to
was
drink.
taken away from him. Therefore, he became
Peer
genetic.
pressure became too great for him, so he had to become a drinker. I totally disagree with that. He had the free will of choice to be able to drink
I
or
don't,
not.
I don't want to take away your delusion or illusions of freedom. It feels good because I will be able to punish you when you do something that is against my interest. And I think I can justify it to you too. Yes, I am the guilty punishment.
Why do you even go?
I like to have this kind of robots who think they are free and they can easily...
Why don't you challenge yourself and you just stay on your bed and you don't get out till you just stay there?
Because...
Just challenge yourself. Just
Yeah,
stay there. Don't move.
I don't think I've ever really thought that we're truly free. Like, I want to open the window right now, but I can't open the window because someone has, stopped me from opening
I'm
the
not
window.
talking about that. That's right. I think everyone will concede that we don't have 100% absolute freedom. We are stuck in our body. You cannot be at another person's body at the same time, correct? You cannot have two personalities. Well, you may different same body. But we are talking about whether you have really made a decision, attempt, decide to open the window or not. Whether you can open or not, it's another issue. It is your power. But the very decision, choosing this or that, why I choose A instead of B? Because previously I have some information, some experience with A or B. Well, before that, I had another experience led me to that information. Step by step from the birth, you are led to what you are. You were destined to be who you are. Yes?
So before your very first influence, are you free? Before your very first influence, like right as you're born, before you see anything, are you free?
Okay, we are coming to Paul Sartre's
No,
statement.
it's a hard determination.
I'm coming to that one.
Anything is-
Paul Sartre, I think as a philosopher, he made biggest blunder. It doesn't make any sense. Someone says, existence precedes essence. I'm coming to you. Existence precedes essence. Means you exist and then you create your essence. Well, if you were coming to existence in an egg as a mosquito, you cannot be a human being. Can you create your essence as a human being? No. If you were whatever you are, whatever essence you are going to somehow create out of nothingness, it is there. It is your genes. In your essence starts with existence. Existence is not zero. You are a bunch of codes. Not only codes, it's matter. That code also has instruction what to do next. In effect, age 20, puberty, what kind of genes will be activated, what kind of protons will be activated. Protons, I say, certain hormones. And that's even that. All the things, even your age almost determine that. There are some external stuff, but so many things in you are that program. You are in that little embryo that fertilized with sperm. You are, everything is there. It is essence. How can you imagine how a
Your essence also can change after you're born. You can have an essence before and after. Your cells are dying all the time and being replaced by new ones. You can influence your body chemically, and that changes the chemistry of
It
your
happens
body.
all according to what is there. And the environment you are not controlled, also your genes, the changing of your skin's stuff, it is part of the program.
Your environment also can change your genes somehow. It can influence your genetics.
But your mind came from your genes or external things, constraints. And therefore, it is a combination of the things in our unit, it leads to something else. I'm not saying you are changing, mutating, but the change happens, your gene plus your environment plus the hormones or psychology created by your genes. That's it. But all the things are determined.
Your external influences are
You're
not predetermined.
not all
What
your-
happens to you in your life is not predetermined. You go through different experiences. I mean, one day, it's the perfect example, going to class. Maybe one day you don't go to class and you go do something else instead, which is
Why?
changes.
Why?
Because you made that decision, or because that
Why?
decision
Why you would
possibly
choose
came
not to
from
go
you.
to the class? If you would be able to answer that question, then there's a reason. If there is a reason, that reason existed before your decision. That reason preceded your decision, it existed before. Therefore, and then we go back to that reason came into existence because previous one. But if you say, I have no reason at all, maybe you don't have cognition, awareness of the reason. You are acting according to your genes. That's only like an animal,
I think
like a
our
flower.
brains are too complex to act that linearly.
Yes.
That's like Newtonian physics. It's
Okay,
too
I need to cool down.
simplistic.
Going back to what you said, your destiny determines who you are or what you become. I want to bring up like a rape victim. You think their destiny is or their experiences may determine them to become a rape victim?
Yeah, this is, I'm playing a little bit devil's advocate, though. I am Kind of intellectually, I'm not convinced there is freedom of will, honestly. But I am I want to believe there is freedom of will, and I have some reason to give a chance to that. But I don't understand, I don't comprehend. And for that one, I could say the person who became rape victim, becoming a girl, by itself made her positive. It was maybe a male, will not be perhaps, or a very strong man, or didn't end up with prison. Why end up in prison? It could be another issue. But most likely, if we are talking about girls being raped by a man who is more masculine, can use the power, usually being girl and weaker body, it was predetermined. And coming to that place, that rape choice, going to the bar, that choice was based on her previous experiences, maybe certain things that led her to that. All of this predetermined. And the guy coming there also predetermined. If you check why he came to the bar, because of that. Why because of that? Because previously he did that, goes to the babyhood. Therefore, from the birth, both was destined, one raping the other. It was just deterministic.
You
What
cannot
about the
prove
boy
any,
then?
if a rape victim thinks that way, then they start to blame themselves.
There's nothing to be blamed. Blame goes out. We are all robots. There's no more blame. Okay, here is one
So
example.
what's the point
Well,
of
what
you
about the
regret
boy?
anything?
Huh?
What about the boy?
Exactly.
Same, determined to be a rapist.
According to
Okay, here it is. I give you an example. I think Goldbeck gives, philosopher Goldbeck gives an example, saying a pool, billiard pool. Imagine instead of, how many of them are there? Balls in one place?
14.
Maybe 13, 14? Okay, 14 of them. Instead of 14, let's say thousands of them there. You hit, not thousand, let's say make it 2,000. You hit one of them and they start moving very fast. And then someone doesn't see the motion, the first point, moment that it was hit. And then looks at it, everything goes in random, as if they are free will. Those balls moving around, as if they have freedom. You cannot really guess where they will go, because you cannot guess, you cannot predict where they will end up. It doesn't mean they are free. It means you don't have enough information about them. But if you be able to have information about each mass, their location, the momentum, and their angle, the way they stay, the distances, and you should be able to calculate exactly what their location